Whatever parent needs to hear this, listen up. Just because, and I'm speaking specifically to your situation, so if this video is popped up on your For You page, it's because you need to hear it. Just because you lost your parents at a young age and you had to grow up faster than you needed to, faster than you wanted to, you did need to grow up faster because you didn't have any parents. Just because you lost your safety net at a young age does not mean that you have to terrorize your children, sabotage your children, and make them suffer because you had to suffer. Why are you making your children pay the price for having parents that are still alive when you are their parent that is still alive? How you envious of your child for having parents that are still living when you are the one that is still living? Make it make sense, bro. Do you realize how foolish you sound by treating your children a certain way and being, well, you know what, you still have a safety net? Yes, you're the safety net. Shouldn't you be grateful at the fact that your children have a safety net that you didn't have? But no, it's because you haven't fully healed from the fact that your parents had to go at an early age, at a young age, your young age. And let me tell you, it's the fact that you are envious of the fact that your children have a better life than you had. You're envious of that. And you cannot see past your own emotion, your own envy, and you have not fully healed your grief. That is why you subjugate your children to so much neglect and abandonment and abuse when you're physically still on this planet, because you want them to see what it's like to suffer and not have the safety net that you had, that you did not have, and you purposely don't support your children because you want them to struggle and see what it's like to struggle when that's not the case. Basically, what you're doing is you're saying, you know what, God? You basically giving a giant middle finger up to God because you're mad at the fact that God took away your parents at an early age before you were ready. So now you're looking at it in a certain way where you're like, God, they shouldn't have that. But basically what you're saying is this: no, I want to live, but I want my children to suffer the same way that I had to suffer. So instead of you taking me off this planet, why don't I just give them the suffering that I had to go through? That's wild and that's fucked up. It's very fucked up. Because y'all don't even be realizing that y'all are probably making your own clocks tick by treating your children that way. Y'all don't see that though. And why are you jealous of the fact that your children have living parents when you are the parent that is still living? Like, do you even realize what you're doing with y'all energy? Y'all are not. Y'all are not aware of y'all's energy. And that's y'all's problem. That's y'all's problem. Y'all are so mad at the fact that your children have living parents that y'all don't even see that y'all are the parents that are still living that they have. Shouldn't you be grateful for the fact that you have outlived your parents' age? Shouldn't you be grateful for that? You should. You should be grateful for the fact that you have outlived your parents' age. But no, you don't want to be grateful for that. You don't. Because you think that you basically want a redo at your life. But I'm sorry, baby. That's not going to happen. None of us can get a redo. We can't even get a redo at what our parents did to us. And if your parents were still living, they will be able to tell you, or they will be able to tell you the same thing, that they cannot do a redo of what they experienced, of what you experienced. And if your parents was to turn in their graves and come out from that grave or come from out that urn and manifest themselves into a physical body for a second to tell you what you need to hear, this is what they would tell you. First, they would apologize and say, I'm very sorry that I had to leave you so early, is what they would say. They would tell you that they are very sorry that they had to leave you so early. Then they would tell you that it was a part of God's plan for them to leave the earth when they had to leave the earth. And it was a part of your plan that you had to lose your parent at an early age, because all of that was playing a role into the version that you were going to be. But a lot of you failed as a parent because you could not get over the fact that your parents are no longer here. Y'all are the elders now, but y'all don't even act like the elders because y'all don't want to be the elders. You want the elders in your life to still be here, and that's okay that you want that, or you feel like you need that. However, you cannot fight against God's plan. And if God had intended for your elders to be here, they would still be here. But that's not what God had intended. Everybody on this earth has an expiration date. Everybody will leave this earthly realm at some point, and we cannot fight God when that happens. And you cannot fight God when it already has happened. Take that up with God and talk to God about why you're so upset, and God will give you that clarity. Stop taking your anger and frustrations out on your children just because you're mad that your parents are no longer here. You're taking out your grief on your children by not supporting them, by not being there for them emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, by abandoning them, by neglecting them, by abusing them, by disrespecting them, by disciplining them. By abusing them in the name of discipline, by abusing your children in the name of discipline. There's a major difference between disciplining your child and abusing your child. And you all confuse the two on purpose. You call the abuse that you give them discipline when it's abuse. It's not discipline. And if other people are able to see that you are abusing your child, that's because it is very salient. It is very apparent. It is very obvious and made aware that you are abusing your children. Parents that abuse their children get called out for their behavior because other parents can clearly see it. When you see with an adult set of eyes how a parent is treating their child, you can clearly see the abuse. But you know what? Y'all are in for a rude awakening. Because while y'all was sitting up there abusing your child, your offspring, their whole life, God was watching you the entire time. And God has a plan for your children to have the love and the support that they need, even if it doesn't come from you. God has sent in parental figures into their lives that will take them under their wing and will love them and raise them the way that they need to be loved and raised, whether you are here or not. And some of you are actually going to see the type of love that their parental figures will have for them, and you will see that it is unmatched from what you gave them, from what you could ever give them. Parenting, and you don't have to be a parent to understand this, but if you are a child of a parent, you can understand what you need, what children need from their parents, not just children, but adult children. What they need from their parents, they need more than just being provided for. They need a parent that is physically present, emotionally available, mentally stable. They need a parent that is healthy, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. They need more than a parent to just provide for them. They need a parent to connect with them emotionally, to know what they need and to attend to their needs, to love them unconditionally, and to genuinely treat them like they matter. But when you're out here abusing your children and treating them like shit, how do you expect your children to respond to that? Would you want that from a parent? Would you want your parent to treat you the way that you treat them? No. And then when your children start matching your energy, then you be looking flabbergasted. Well, motherfucker, if you stop treating your children like that, they wouldn't have to match your energy. Ashe. Act like you got some goddamn sense. And grow up.